Hey guys, welcome to the Resident Evil 8 or Resident Evil Village spoilers discussion, review discussion that we're going to do here. I love Resident Evil. I love the new universe that they've created that blends with the old universe and the direction that we're going. And I just wanted to sit down and talk about some of the nitty-gritty and the revelations that were in the game. And then maybe cover a few things that we didn't cover in the review. So, yes, I know about Mercenaries mode. I didn't mention it in the review, and the lightsaber in the Mercenaries mode. All those Resident Evil have these sort of time trials that you can go through with different weapons, kind of like a New Game Plus. So that was fun, and yeah, it added to the game, but the previous ones have had that in there. So, ultimately, I liked it. But I think I like Resident Evil 7 better in terms of scare factor, newness, horror. This one kind of felt a little bit like a retread, like a redo of 7 to better incorporate some of the Resident Evil lore. Because Resident Evil 7 kind of felt it was its own thing, and then at the end they were like, oh fuck, we forgot, let's tie it into the Resident Evil, and then Chris shows up at the end, he's really nice to Ethan, he throws him a gun, and then this one, he's a fucking dick to Ian, he's like a piece of shit. I don't know, man. Guys, Chris has gone from like one of my favorite characters to like one of the biggest assholes, and I don't like him.
Now.
I don't fucking like him.
The writers forgot how to write.
Yeah,
but anyway,
I don't know why
so
that
this one
happened
was
in
like
the beginning, though.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, Ethan, stay out of this. It's like, they took my daughter. What the fuck do you mean stay out of this?
Yeah. He's like, Ethan,
explain
no.
to me what the fuck is going on.
No.
That's my daughter.
Oh, by the way, we didn't actually kill your wife.
There's the,
You don't
there's
even
the
mention that.
newspaper. The rolled up newspaper, Joe. Grab it. Ethan, no. Ethan, no. No. Quit being a dick and explain.
Yeah.
Anyways, so what is the revelation ultimately? Let's talk spoilers at the end. Alex?
Fungus, mold.
Yes.
Mega.
Yes.
Correct.
Miranda's been alive for
I keep-
100-something years.
I'm just
yeah.
going to call it Megamycite, even if I get it wrong. And so Ethan has been mold this whole time. In fact, they go and they retcon a little bit of 7, if you could call it that, because I think it fits. Might be 1 or 2 plot holes, but where the Baker, John Baker, the father, actually kills him. You know, when you first die, you die. And from that point, the mold takes over, and you are a mold person. And
Mold
so that
people.
that actually kind of makes sense because he fucking glued back like 7 body parts, and that was never explained. I kind of just thought it was like super powerful liquid medicine. You remember?
Yeah, I was like, I want
Maybe
that.
some
Like, what the
kind
hell?
of secret medicine, right? But no, it turned out that he's mold, and being mold is a good explanation for that. Like these mold people, their powers manifest in different ways.
Yeah, but at the same time, though, wouldn't it mess with your head?
No, magic.
No, because he's here's what I'm thinking, and it's been in various Resident Evil lore, is that you can be a perfect host for a virus, and it can kind of
Okay, that's what I
combine
was
with
kinda
you
thinking.
in a perfect way to where you're and that explains like why are mold zombies and things attacking him and monsters attacking him if he's part of the mold. Well, he's autonomous, and he's a kind of a an independent being of the mold. So that's the way I saw it. Lady D, of course, the star of the game. Alex?
Best 5 minutes of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know, right? But I wish it was longer.
Right?
Wish it was
So
longer.
did she.
I like the
That's a
little
big woman, right?
the little voyeur scene where Joe, climbs up the window. When you do that in the game, you peek in on her on a phone call. But so that pays off for some of the horny guys out there. But unfortunately, it's over. She's like the first boss. I don't think Capcom really knew how popular she was going to be.
I think they knew exactly how popular they were
knew.
going to be.
Yeah, she
They're
was
like-
everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
they
true.
knew they had to take advantage of the internet, and they knew it would take off in memes, and it was going to hit certain groups. And even if you weren't part of those particular tastes for, giant
Like me,
10-foot-tall woman.
I mean, I guess.
But the
she's
memes were
beautiful,
funny.
But like, it's funny, and I was in
Yeah.
it to that way. Wasn't
Yeah.
really in the horny way, but I was like, okay, well, if she wanted to ask me out on a date, yeah, maybe I could.
Sure, why not?
Okay, maybe I was in it. Anyways, but Lady D doesn't like Ethan's blood, and that makes sense as well because he's a mold person, right?
Stale.
But what doesn't make sense is her daughters. Her daughters are like, your blood is delicious.
Her daughters were written by
They were
the
nasty.
dumbest goddamn person. They shared voice lines. You meet this daughter for the first time. She's like, "Why don't you love me?" It's like, "Why are
Come
you
play
saying
with
this
me."
cringy shit?"
Yeah, there was. We were like, wait, what?
Yeah, what the hell is
did we just
happening?
hear?
You wish.
Don't you love me?
I don't even know you.
What? Where's that coming from? Now she wants to be with you? I don't know what the hell that was supposed to be.
First you
go?
want to
Where'd
kill
you go?
me. Now you want to kiss.
That's what Lady D is
Oh!
supposed to say. Ah, she got you. As if there was a part missing in the game that
Yeah.
maybe,
Oh, the Resident Evil part.
They like went, damn, you're going hard on the game. Okay, well, let me get your verdict on the game.
I like survival horror games, and this didn't have aspects of either, except for one part.
No,
And
it had survival. Although even the scary part. Yeah.
I don't think there was any survival aspects of this game whatsoever. I think there was at no time. And again, I missed the last 2/3 of the game. I had to watch the VOD later.
Mm-hmm.
There was not a single time where I'm like, you guys are like hurting for ammo and health packs and anything. You had everything you needed at all time. Now you did have to have them.
We'll
but
talk about the merchant later because that kind of ruins things. Because
Yeah.
normally you have to find everything and
there
scouge.
was none of the survival aspect of a Resident Evil game, and
The merchant
I think that the Lady D's castle was completely devoid of tension the entire time. If she was faster, if the daughters were more menacing,
Yes, it wasn't. It didn't feel like that Mr. X battle.
if
that
you
we
set
had.
everything up for Lady D and
Mm-hmm.
she's not menacing or scary, I mean, she was imposing, but once you realize that her slash was like super telegraphed, you're just like, okay, I'll get out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
Or when you realize that if your hand comes off, it doesn't matter because you got magic goo, then that part had no tension. And again, this was by design. They specifically said they wanted
that
to
was
lower
the part
the
that bothered me the most. I put it in the review a little late,
Yeah.
but you found this article where the producer was like, the last one was too scary. We're gonna tone it down.
We're gonna turn the tension down.
What the fuck? Who told you that? Slap him.
Yeah.
I will slap you. I'm gonna slap you. Capcom.
Should.
I'm gonna
Twice.
slap you. Right?
Knock some sense into him.
Because why did they redo the Resident Evil series? It was dead. Why? Because they kept doing explosive
Bay.
action in Michael Bay, and nobody was really into that, and they weren't buying as much. And it got so much new buzz when Resident Evil 7 came out, and it was horror again, and it was tight, and it was claustrophobic, and
Focused.
it was VR, and all these things, and now it's not that. So, yeah, it was when Lady D goes down, and you have all the rest of these bosses, you're like, eh.
Everything was just kind of bland.
But thankfully, the next boss was great because you have that baby.
It's hit and miss.
Ooh, that baby scene was
the highest point of the whole game.
Oh,
Where? Oh shit! Yeah,
The whole experience.
It doesn't hit that again. But anyways, so explaining Ethan again, he got killed, and he was revived using the power of the mold, likely by Evelyn. You remember the girl in the boat on that first one because she needed him alive. And I'm taking a lot of this stuff from great discussion on Reddit. To sort of connect the dots, that this would make him closer to hybrids that we see, like Heisenberg, who's half human, half mold.
Magneto.
And the
Cringe
mold,
Magneto.
that's how he has these powers to regenerate and shapeshift, but they kind of keep their humanity because Heisenberg's kind of a breed. And Mother Miranda, who's this new character, she has all these experiments. When you go into a room and you look at all the Kadao is what she calls it. That's a specific version where she's creating hybrids in a laboratory and calling them her children. Versus the mold, if the mold just hits a person, they turn into a mindless, it overcomes them and they become monsters. But if it hits a perfect host, like an Ethan, then it will give him these kind of autonomous powers, So I thought that was cool. He's a special. So you got a lot of Resident Evil characters that are special. But so that's Ethan, and
his DNA is pretty special because Rose got it too.
yeah. So we'll talk about Mia and Rose in a second, but I do want to say at the very, very end, it kind of like if you're not paying attention, you don't notice it. The car is driving off with Rose and agent number 7, generic agent number 7. The asshole. And you see a figure on the road, and you're like, what the hell is that?
It's Ethan.
And, well, some people have actually used a photo mode and some mods to, like, detach the camera and zoom the camera over there. And it's Ethan. It's the character model for Ethan. Yeah,
Well, the next
because his
game's-
hand is bandaged. His other hand is rotting off. He's wearing Ethan's clothes except for the jacket. Why would he not be wearing the jacket? Because in the ending cutscene, he gives the jacket to Chris for the baby, Rose. So he gives that jacket. But in this one, his face is shown. His face is actually modeled. And I guess because they never thought that,
People would do that.
zoom in. Or the other explanation is they just were lazy and they were just using Ethan's model because they had no other model and they just wanted. But I don't buy that.
No.
I think I thought I saw spoilers that Capcom said that the next generation of Resident Evil games will be following Rose, and then she'll reconnect with Ethan later.
Well, here's the thing: is that it says the father's story is over, but again, I don't know if I believe that. I do believe it in the sense because that message could be. He's no longer the focus. 'Cause
Yeah,
you're
that's
Ethan
what I
every
was gonna
time.
think.
That doesn't necessarily mean he's over and he's dead and he's gone and he's never coming back. He'll show up in a Barry kind of way or something. It'd just be the side character.
Oh, Barry, when Resident Evils were.
Yeah. All right, so that's Ethan, and so I prefer Ethan. I think it would be cool because he has regenerative powers. The screen goes black before he does everything, so you don't actually see him die.
Off
So
screen.
I like that Ethan survives. What do y'all think? Do you think Ethan's dead or do you think he survives?
Oh, he survived after everything he's gone through. He has to survive.
Yeah,
Same
I
with
The
you?
mold power, man.
Okay, so then we go on to Mia. I don't know about you, but I think Mia's not a good person. At one point in her life, she wasn't a good person because, and I was doing some research because I wanted more on what is it called, the Commonwealth, the Common something. She was a part of this little faction on the boat where she was literally working to weaponize Evelyn, and and she might have even gotten together with Ethan under other
She
circumstances.
knew he had special blood.
Yeah,
make
something
another
like that.
bioweapon.
Who knows? But I don't know. I just think that but no, I get. Do y'all think that she reformed and was really in love with Ethan and everything was good and I
There's
guess
always
now that I think
ulterior
about it and I go back,
motivations.
I do think, I'm sorry, I misled y'all both. I do think she's a good person. She was bad initially, but I wanna know more about her is what I'm saying. Like why was she working for them and all this other stuff? We never get any of that really. We get some of the side lore stuff where she won't fucking tell Ethan that he's mold. I guess that's what she was talking about. She's like, I'm not concerned with Rose. At first I thought she was like talking about the baby being mold, but I think when she's in that room, like yelling at Ethan and not wanting to tell him, it's Ethan being the mold, and she can't bring herself to tell him. But when do you think Mia got replaced? Do you think Mother Miranda and Ethan were having sex and Rose is Mother Miranda's baby, or do you think Mother Miranda replaced her afterwards
After.
to get
I
to
think,
the
I think
baby?
after. I think like the night that you show up, one of the reasons why she's like, I don't want to talk about anything that I may not know about that's the doppelganger.
Right.
Yeah, so
You're
I don't
right.
remember.
Alex is right. And I think the evidence is there to support it because when you first are talking to her, you're surprised
I don't wanna
she's
talk
making
about
this
it.
soup that she doesn't normally make because he makes a comment
You're wearing
on
a
it.
weird traditional Romanian soup. How the hell do you know how to make that?
Yeah. And then she's like, I think she even mentions that she met some people or something like that or previously, and she probably got jumped right there by Mother Miranda. So it is a legit baby. It's a legit mold baby. That might explain why he's so ugly.
Big head mode.
Big
They
ass
had
head.
big, they had
baby.
big head mode on in Resident Evil.
Right.
I'll finish dinner.
Oh, that's a ugly baby.
Can't say that. The internet get mad at you.
Ethan Bradbury make a ugly baby.
Yeah, well, look at the mother.
So these two mold people where Mia got cured, but the mold's probably still innate in her body, and Ethan being not cured and full mold created a mold baby, and this mold baby could be the new Evelyn, the new one that a catalyst which could control the megamycete, control this mold is what she's doing. So, anyways. What did you think about Mother Miranda and the way they tied her into the Resident Evil universe being like the singular most important person, if not, the creator of every single Resident Evil game?
I thought it was good. I mean, this is actually what we were talking about this a long time ago, where it's like, look, if they found a way to tie this in where she kind of creates that and like Umbrella's learning from her notes or whatever, and that's exactly what they did. It's like, okay, this actually makes sense.
I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really shitty writing in this game, mainly in dialogue, and I don't think that was a...
Yeah, because it was very tropey, and I mentioned that in the review. But so, yeah, Mother Miranda, what do you think is good?
I thought the plot was fine, but
cheap?
her character itself just felt very
the character
bland.
itself was
But the
bland.
story is like, sure, why not?
But the explanation you liked.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she was revealed to be a researcher who worked with the original Spencer, right? Who, and she pretty much gave him the knowledge on how to essentially create the Resident Evil 0 and Resident Evil 1 virus that we love from our previous
she's been alive
games.
for, what, like 150 years or something like that? A long time.
And she's kind of the reason the mold exists. Not the reason the mold exists, but she's spreading the mold and figures out the mold and knows about the mold in present day and responsible for basically the major outbreaks throughout the series. And then, well, how does that explain Plagas and all these other and T and H and V and C? Well, you know, it's all versions of this Mega Messiah.
Magic.
So I thought that was cool. And I am interested to see more of the origins because it's like they went to this ancient history, and I kind of like that, where you've got like these horses and lords, and the Umbrella logo is actually like a, the four things
crest,
or whatever crest. So I like that, but it's like, who built that? Who built the chalice?
Aliens.
Did they build the chalice? Did the lords build the chalice? Maybe the Duke, but I like this royal and the ancient and castles and stuff. And in fact, Lady D's castle was inspired by the Peles Castle, real life castle located in Transylvania, Romania. And there was a Romanian on Reddit who put it up. And you could see, not only does it look like it on the outside, but they had interiors where the Japanese, developers must have gone out
there. I love the design
there.
they did with that stuff. I just wish they would have done more with it.
Yeah, I like the castle
visually
a lot.
great.
You're in the castle, and then you're out
I was
of
like,
the
oh,
castle.
it's so cool. And then we're out. I was like, okay.
Yeah. Okay, and let's talk about the Duke a little bit. So I think I like the Duke, even though he takes away from the survival elements. I like the Duke. I think he's a fun guy. They took everything in Resident Evil 4's Merchant and made it better. Because Resident Evil 4's Merchant kind of never really felt like it kind of fit. He didn't really belong there. But this one here is, I like the Duke. He's kind of like his friend in an instance. Who do you think the Duke is?
Plot device.
Plot device. Yeah, Joe?
No clue.
So, okay, well, I think it would be interesting if he was the fifth Lord. Right, because you got four lords, and he was cut or removed, and I think there's evidence to support that. There's various things. According to an art director behind the concept art, apparently they later pulled the idea of him being a fifth lord, and I like that it ties into his dialogue. Who are you? And he's like, honestly, I don't even know that myself, because it's like. He's supposed to have a purpose, but then he's hanging around there. So I just like his character. He's aware that he got cut out of the game.
Yeah, I think he does really well for the story, and there's all sorts of cool stuff. I think he did a huge disservice to the gameplay, where he's just always there, especially in like Lady D's castle. You're like, oh, I need something. I just go right down there, and if he just randomly popped up once every now and then, and once you used him, he was gone. He didn't get to do stuff till later. That would
brah. He's got fat stacks.
It's just like, again, it just removes it's no longer, if you wanted to say that this is an action thriller game from now on, it's Call of Duty with lichens, then that's fine. But you have to stop calling it.
That's what it is at the end.
It's not a survival horror game anymore. Just stop calling it that.
This is the kind of shit we were talking about in 6 and a little bit in 5.
Resident Evil Village felt
it.
like Resident Evil 6 in Resident Evil 4's skin, where they're like, what did people like about Resident Evil 4? Like, well, the Merchant was kind of cool. We really like the aesthetic. We like the visuals. So let's just put 6 inside of 4.
That's what I'm actually looking forward to, that they can learn from this, that they're kind of experimenting with outside and stuff like this, so we can get a remake of 4. I hope we do get a remake.
We do have it's coming.
Oh yeah,
I think it's confirmed a 4 remake. I can't wait for that one.
I don't think it's been confirmed.
Do you think that they're going to turn down the tension in Resident Evil 9? They're just like, no, Resident Evil 8 was too scary.
But granted, 4 was also kind of the actiony one and the
Yeah.
crazy one that actually works though, versus 6 and anything. If anybody didn't know what I was talking about with the giraffe thing, it's because the 6 logo looks like it's a giraffe getting his dick sucked. Anyways, but some people were thinking the Duke was a local and he was just there to make profit, or he's a part of some kind of merchant's guild, because the carpet in the wagon has a crest and a line that translates to "money protects the right." So it seems like he's a part of, some kind of organization. But he could still be a Fifth
That's
Lord
boring.
and be a part of an organization
right,
and
right.
have and I don't think that's it, because he does mention at one point that he lost an entire region to sell products to, and he travels around the world and not, so that he considers it, a shame that he can't sell there anymore, but he can probably sell somewhere else.
I mean, where else are you gonna buy one bullet for like $9 million or whatever he was selling for? It's like, how do you get away?
Motherfucker was selling bullets for too much.
It's like
Bullshit,
one
man.
for one.
Yeah. Blue Umbrella. We didn't get much on that, but that was because it was in the Not a Hero DLC. And if you didn't play the Not a Hero DLC, Joe didn't play, Alex didn't play. Let me explain it real quick, because they don't really cover much on Chris here. Just kind of brush it over. Basically, Blue Umbrella, it's the private military company made up of former Umbrella scientists and operatives, like the main branch, seeking to atone for their sins in the original Umbrella's evil work. And Chris is not necessarily like the leader. They hired him to help with their mission, to address, the Evelyn, mold incident. And Lucas's work coordinating between the evil corporations, orchestrating that whole thing. So and that's why I think Chris leaves the BSAA, because they're starting to fuck around with the bioweapons when they're the ones that are supposed to, not be doing that. And so and then he's an advisor now to Blue Umbrella, and I guess Blue Umbrella is now the next BSAA, but better or gooder or whatever. So yeah. Anyways, well, where do you think it's going next?
Fucking crazy town.
All right, they show Rose.
Rose with she's gonna have some cool powers.
Yeah.
She's gonna be the next operative we follow around. It'll be her story, and then Ethan will pop in. She'll be, "Oh my God, you're alive, dead, and you haven't changed at all."
So the father's story is over. Number one, do you think it is a trilogy, like some rumors have stated, or do you think they're gonna move on to get our old legendary characters?
Oh no, I don't think so. I think
It's a trilogy. I think it's a trilogy as well. They're like, the father's story is over, and then a new story begins, or whatever. It may be Rose, may even be Mia. Maybe we are Mia the whole time. We learn that would make sense to give her backstory, like before she joined that Commonwealth or the Commoners or whatever they're called, and then eventually falling in love with Ethan, and then you can have
Maybe.
Rose
Using
in there.
him.
Using him for a bioweapon.
At first, probably, but then she fell in love with him, because it does seem like she does care about him. So there's that scene where she's like, "I don't want to tell you, I can't tell you," and she's like yelling. That's really Mia. And then, like you said, she gets taken over for just the cutscene where she's making the soup, and she gets shot, and she's like, pfft, and he like brushes it off, and she's like, whatever. But then he fills her up with that. But yeah, no, I think some people were saying, well, no, it can't be Rose because it would be set too far in the future. But that's not true, because she's growing accelerated.
Yeah,
Shit, because in between
Evelyn,
they didn't say.
Right. It could just be a week or 2 weeks, and that baby grew up to, the size that she
Nothing
is
makes
now.
sense in this universe. It's totally fine. I mean, they,
I'm open to it,
But
man.
I was worried, because it was like, well, if she's that old, then that means Leon's like old, and then Chris is
Yeah,
old
'cause you
man,
mentioned
and I don't
that,
want to
too.
come back with an old man. But no, I didn't realize that she's a mole baby. She probably has accelerated growth, and
Because
she's,
we read those files too. It's like a
Yeah.
lot of them, like Lady D, grew up pretty fast.
In fact, yeah, exactly. You're right. And in fact, in the next game, if it is on Rose, she could be a teenager, even more, or a lady at this point. With powers. So I don't know, but see that if you do that, then you lose the horror. I don't know if I want to play as Rose with fucking powers, and I would go powers versus powers. Anyways,
She's got to have something. She's got Ethan's blood as well, or the mold.
Yeah, and maybe Chris will be there. And maybe they won't make him a fucking moron who got Ethan killed and treated him like shit, and letting him think his wife's dead the whole fucking time. Chris doesn't even fucking say anything about
so
Mia,
absurd.
even though he knows Mia's alive.
The first thing he'd be is like, "Hey, that's not your wife. You're super in danger. We got to get you and your daughter out of here."
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like the
Okay,
first. And he's like,
let's
"Oh, cool. I'm with you." It's like, "No, knock this idiot out."
Yeah.
This special super powered mushroom idiot.
He went from one of my favorite characters, if not the favorite, to my least favorite, and it's
They did him dirty.
They did him dirty. But if you did see, a classic character, which one would you want a classic character to come back? Chris? Me, it's Claire. Claire hasn't had one since, like, what is it, Rev 2?
Claire
Yeah,
again.
so
Bring back Barry.
maybe Leon would be cool.
I like Leon.
Yeah, so I think that I just want them to get more classic characters in here, and I'm kind of done with the Winter story, but it seems like they're going to do one more with the Winter stuff.
Or 3 more.
Mia or Rose. Please don't. Okay?
Winter's
It's just so you have this arc 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? All the way to Resident Evil Giraffe and then some games in between. And you see the evolution over there where it turns into action and then it kind of drops off. Now you get this mini trilogy, and you see it happening in the mini trilogy, right?
What's going on?
I'm just a little curious.
They sold so well, though. There's no other video games out, so they did so well with this game.
Maybe they're
just like
false sense of security.
Do they worry about the reviews or they worry about the money? And they're like, "Wow, we made so much money. Who gives a fuck if people didn't like this game?"
No, I think most people like it.
No, even I liked the
it's at a
game,
good
but
balance.
it's not. Look, Resident Evil for me is one of the most iconic horror franchises. I remember playing Resident Evil 1. I remember the day. I remember who I was playing with. It was raining. I went into that right hallway through the thing. The dogs jumped through, scared the shit out of me. I was like,
Same
I
here.
love this
Every
fucking
fucking
game,
thing.
and it was amazing. This game is like Jurassic World to that game, right? It is. It does not live up to its name. It does not deserve the Resident Evil name on there because it's not scary and it's not survival. If you want Call of Duty Lycans, make fucking Call of Duty Lycans. You're Capcom. You got enough money, but you're staining your franchise, and it was still enjoyable. It just wasn't very good.
I disagree. I mean, that's your opinion. My take on it is you can have your lichens and you can have your different viruses that do different things, plagas and different, and do unique things like werewolf, zombies, but keep it firmly in, horror.
It is not
and
horror.
Scary and up close and tight and gross and stuff like that. And this game treads the line. It goes back and forth. The baby part was amazing.
That's less than 10% of the total game.
I know. We are giving the game a big pass because we see some things that worry us as we're going forward. The boss gauntlet and stuff. Though I love bosses, but then again, the next counter to that is the
Heisenberg
boss
one.
fights themselves aren't that great.
So I was gonna say that
Puzzles weren't great.
The baby
Dialogue was
one,
bad.
and then we had that Eisenberg one.
Yeah.
which
Then
was
why
like-
the fuck are we rating this a 7 and
I don't
8?
know why people like this one. I honestly, because
okay, then what's your rating?
I would probably give this a 5 or a 6. I'd have to sit down and go through everything. I think the visuals for this game were incredible. I love that we went gothic with it, that we have these castles, and then they did nothing with it. There was such an amazing opportunity to do really cool things with the castle. Even cheapen yourself down to jump scares, which I still like sometimes. But there was a great opportunity to set up atmosphere where Lady D is scary. And she could be scary, but she wasn't scary. She was so comically slow for a 9'6" woman. Every one of her steps should be like you sprinting around the way. You should have to use clever ways where you can't outrun her on a straight hallway, and you could. So I think that they really failed with tension and horror in this game. And if we're rating this as an action game, if you compare this to every action game that's come out in the last year, it is average or below.
Oh, if it's pure action, it's below average for sure.
So it's rough because it's not a very good survival horror game and it's a below average action game. And so, the sum of all the parts is greater in this case. But I do think people were giving it a huge pass because, it was enjoyable. It's not like it's a miserable time. And I don't think hardcore makes this game better because that's the other thing that people are like, oh, hardcore makes this better.
What you need to do.
I do not like zombie games where I shoot a zombie 5 times in the face and it is not dead. Or, 4.5 times in the face and it's not dead. And hardcore just makes it the same, except for now you don't have bullets.
Yeah. So, anyways, and what about you, Joe? So that's my opinion from the review. I actually ended up liking it, but if it continues to slide in this direction, then I'll have some problems. I think it has it's uneven, but because I like the characters, because I like the designs, the universe, some segments of it, it manages to hold it up.
Yeah, I'm in the
what
same
about
boat with you. I did like it, but then it started getting kind of ridiculous towards the end. I don't want them to take that direction. I want them to keep it the horror element, as we all grew up with and loved. That's what we liked. I did like the design with all the environments they did. Some of the bosses were kind of hokey for my taste. The main climax was kind of a letdown for me.
Yeah.
But I did like the characters, and overall the story was fine.
Yeah.
I've seen worse plots in my B movies.
Oh yeah, but not but on par dialogue though. Like what about the dialogue?
Yeah,
the dialogue in
Just
this game.
go play with me. I love you. He's like, I just met you.
Oh my god, who writes this stuff?
But probably gonna give it a 7.
Yeah. Okay.
I was torn between 6 or 7, but hopefully they listen to the feedback.
Well, whose feedback?
Maybe.
Resident Evil 7 was too
Not
scary.
the people who said, "Oh, it's scary." It's like, no.
Yeah, Resident Evil 8 is not scary enough.
Make this
please.
VR. Well,
Yeah, that was the most concerning thing. Hopefully, that whoever producer that is
Get him outta here.
realize from the fallout of people talking about that article, like, don't do that. Be scary. Be interesting.
and that's what it's known for.
Yeah.
And do some horror. It's okay to have action. So we're not talking shit
No,
about
action.
the perfect action. There should be no action. There should be no guns, merchant. No. There's just ways to incorporate it, like the baby part, and then maybe. Get some outside help with the boss battles. I feel like the boss battles in Resident Evil 8 are all designed by people who aren't familiar with boss battles, but yet have all the elements there, and they're putting it together in a too small level, and it just doesn't quite work right.
I agree completely. I think that the same thing goes for the writers. I think the people writing the dialogue are unfamiliar with human dialogue. So I think that you should find
that's
someone
Resident Evil.
who's
Resident
talked
Evil's
to it.
always had
yeah,
some
it doesn't matter though. Just because
dialogue.
it's always been there doesn't mean that you want to
We can
continue to
make
be
it
there.
better.
Find someone who's talked to another human being in a competent manner, and then hire them to do the dialogue, please.
Yeah. So
Very
that's.
socially awkward. Come write for us.
You want to be the writer?
I hope we don't have to wait another 3.5, 4 years for the next one. I would like to see one in 2 years.
Oh, we get a remake. I'm sure we'll get the remake within 1 or 2
In
years.
between.
And then we'll get 4 remake, and then we'll
Resident
get
Evil
the
4,
9.
and then 9. Okay, and then 9 round out the trilogy, and then maybe we'll see Leon Claire show up. We know Chris is probably going to be in it, and Rose is in it.
With a
and then
nicer
Mia.
attitude, hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah. Instead of
Sorry,
unless
guys,
they're
I
trying
didn't
to
have
do,
my coffee.
Yeah, I'm sorry I shot your
unless
kid.
they're trying to make him the new Wesker, and maybe do eventually install him as the head of Blue Umbrella, and then go bad. But because the BSAA is already going bad.
But what if the
that
fungus
wouldn't
makes
make
him
sense.
bad?
I don't know. It would. Anyways. Guys, that's it for the extended review discussion. Resident Evil, all things Resident Evil. Looking forward to what Capcom does next. Have a few reservations and concerns, but where's the VR mode? Give us the VR mode. People are saying maybe that could come later. Would VR mode work in the game? Yeah, it would work. Just give it to us, please, because I think that makes the game even better. I really appreciated that VR mode in the first one. No mention of it here, so I don't know. We'll see where they go next. Thank y'all for watching. Definitely thank you to our sponsors, G Fuel, who have a Lady D flavor coming out in July.
I can't wait.
Sucks they couldn't get it to line up. Maybe
Yeah.
that was the pandemic production kind of, like I said, shoved everything back, including our shaker cup and things in the future that we're working on G Fuel with. So. Support that, pre-order it so that it shows up at your house whenever it's ready, right? Pre-order it now and you'll get it later. It'll be great. I'm sure it is delicious. Maiden's blood. Lady D's. You want to taste a Lady D?
Yes.
Grab that. Thank y'all guys. Use the % off code, which should work on the pre-order in the future. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next Angry Joe Show. Bye,
Bye,
guys.
guys.